Welcome to the Football Show on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm Peter Martin. Alan Roth, Tam McManus are here with me in the studio. Thank you to you for showing your support over the course of last season and into this new season. If you hit the subscribe button on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel, you can join the football family. There's lots to talk about. There's the results from the Premier Sports Cup over the weekend. This is how it all panned out. Did your favourite team go through at the end of it? There were lots of games looking forward to over the Friday, Saturday and Sunday. Celtic comfortably easing past Falkirk. Rangers eventually 4-2 over Alloa. Greenock Morton 0, Aberdeen 3. Partick Thistle 2, Ayr United 0, St Johnstone 0, Motherwell 1. St Mirren 1, Hearts 1. It was Saints who go through in the penalty shootout. Livingston 0, Hibs 2. And Killie 2, Dundee United 1. A couple of those games went to extra time. Ruffy, I don't know about you, but I would do away with the extra time. I think we should go straight to penalties.
Yeah, I don't see why the home team should get an extra 30 minutes at home. You know, I think that it would be right, to go straight to penalties. I think it would be more even that way. But again, you know, that the guys that took the penalty kicks I saw at the weekend were absolutely superb.
Yeah, how do you feel about that? I mean, I did ask Derek McManus, he says, oh, no, extra time. A couple of the players said traditionalists, but I don't see the point, Tom. I mean, apart from anything else, I mean, and it's not because the journalists think, come on, we want to go out on Saturday night. I mean, in midweek up at Tannadice, I think I got home about 1 o'clock in the morning. But I don't see the point of it.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree, Peter.
You can't beat somebody in 90 minutes, Tom. Just go to a penalty shootout.
Well, listen, I think everyone's entitled to their opinion, but I quite like it. Extra time. I like extra time, Peter. I think.
Why?
I just think it's an extra half an hour football for people to watch, fans.
That's the only reason.
I think
what about a player's perspective?
Well, from a player's perspective, you're going to be tired. But I would keep it as it is, Peter. I agree with Ruffy. I thought the penalty shootout, Hearts against St Mirren, only one. I think the first St Mirren penalty the goalie should have saved. But by that, St Mirren's penalties were outstanding. So I think there's a skill and an art to that, but I've no problem with extra time and an extra bonus half an hour football for supporters.
I think it gives the big teams more an advantage with a bigger pool. You know, an extra 30 minutes you throw in your players off the bench, where the other teams that haven't got that strongest pool are going to struggle even more. Yeah,
okay, give us your thoughts. Would you do away with extra time and go straight to penalties, or do you like that extra half hour, 15 minutes each way to see if you can get some kind of resolution from it? We'd love to know. Managers and players always bleating on about there's too many games, there's too much asked of players. Does that apply when you're talking about Scotland and the likes of the Premier Sports Cup? We'd love to hear from you on it. Before we get into the meat and bones of each game and give us your thoughts on it, we'd love to hear from you. If you want to hit the subscribe button on PLZ Soccer's premium channel, you're going to get additional content and prizes, and here's one that Kerry can tell you about.
Subscribe to PLZ Premium today and you will be in our prize draw to win this fabulous Scott McTominay replica Napoli shirt. PLZ Premium is offering additional content from your favourite football channel. Subscribe to PLZ Premium today and you'll be in with a chance of winning this fabulous football shirt.
And we'll be announcing the winner of that shirt next week on the programme, and we've got some special giveaways for people who've already subscribed. So we will be contacting you if you have subscribed to PLZ Premium. Two guys are here with me. Celtic eased through comfortably in the end, 4-1 with Maeda, Johnson, Dane Murray, and sadly for Liam Henderson and OG. Keelan Adams hit a good one for Falkirk. Overall, Brendan Rodgers happy to get that one comfortably out of the way on the Friday, and maybe focus all his thoughts now on Kairat Almaty, Ruffy.
Yeah, you can see by the team selection. I think there was only four first-team regulars in the starting 11. Most of the fringe players got a game, and as you said, they controlled the game very well. You know, it was a good goal for the Falkirk boy, but I think on the whole, it just shows you the strength and depth that they've got, and I'll keep a lot of the fresh ones for the midweek.
Yeah, quite a scathing group of people who watched the live part of our programme. For those who listen in podcast, they're quite relaxed. They're maybe walking the dog. They're maybe just having a wee saunter about in the house, Tam, with some earphones on. And for those who watch it on YouTube at a later time, they could scream at some of the points that are made on our live section. Paul Brady's quite scathing. He says, Tam, you'd have been subbed before extra time. You're dreaming. So
subbed on enough.
That's a very good point. Never actually thought about that. Also, Robert says he would prefer extra time. It just depends on what you like, what you're used to. Maybe the younger generation would like to get to the excitement of penalties right away. Give us your thoughts on that. One rumour that hasn't gone away, I know it's on the back page of the Sun newspaper. He's got 24 hours before the kick-off, which is tomorrow, up until tomorrow, Brendan Rodgers can bring in 2 players. So the rumour is Jamie Vardy. What do you make of that chat, Ruffy?
Well, I think down through the years he's been fantastic, particularly Leicester. You know, I think he was the top goal scorer for a few years. Obviously, he's got a lot of experience. You would like to think that coming up here in our domestic league, he wouldn't be playing against the same calibre of player as what he's been playing against down in England. So we saw some of the guys that have come up to Celtic have done particularly well. Bellamy, he had a good time when he came up, scoring goals for fun. Yeah, Robbie Keane, you know, so I think
both of them lost the title. And that's
oh well.
Yeah, I just want to know how you two judge success.
No, I'm just saying. I think he's got enough quality in his game. He's still fit enough. He's still banging in the goals. So it'll be interesting to see. You know, if they can. Obviously, the connections with Brendan Rodgers. That is the big thing. But I wouldn't imagine him signing him tomorrow and throwing him into that game.
No, he says he's fit.
Yeah, I think he'd be a great signing, Peter. I think he's still got a lot to offer. I think you've seen him in a team that struggled last season, Leicester. You know, he's still got his share of goals, still looked sharp, he still looked fit. You know, he doesn't look as if he's lost any pace, and I think he's got the character and the personality to play for Celtic. I think they would lap it up, the pressure of Old Firm games and Champions League games, hopefully from a Celtic point of view. So, yeah, there's a few that have come up and haven't done too well, but I look at him, I think he's still got the hunger and the determination to come up and do really well for Celtic. I think it'd be a great signing.
Yeah, Maestro says Ian Wright and Freddie Lundberg.
Yeah.
Well done.
Dion Dublin. Dion Dublin.
Was Dion Dublin a failure?
I don't remember him.
I think he scored in the League Cup final.
Ian Wright.
Ian Wright. You know, players that come up.
Big names. No, I don't think they produce what we thought they were going to produce.
No.
Always got a bargain with Dion Dublin, but.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, the kitchen, this will need a new kitchen, and the hallway's a disgrace. So, I love that when he's standing in what can only be described as something like
oval.
Yeah, and it's just an absolute nightmare. And he goes, they might need to do that toilet up. Really?
I love it when they go back and they say, how much did you spend? $2,000.
Yeah.
Places like Palace.
Do you know, Ruffy, I actually wonder about that. I always say to myself, how the heck can they get it for that in 4 days? But nevertheless, Celtic comfortably through. Will they get a signing in? Do they need a signing? It's one of those things where, again, Brendan's being clever when he's asked the question, but do they need signings to get past Khairat Almaty? That's the big question. And is it a massive gamble here, Tam, that could end up with, you know, a real bit of what I would call aggro if they were not to qualify?
Oh, I think it is a big gamble, Peter. I think that the Celtic board and the Celtic directors are looking at the tie and going, you know, we've got enough as it is to beat them and get into the Champions League. But if it don't go through, there's going to be, the Celtic fans are going to be raging. There's going to be a big outpouring of anger towards the board and the guys that run the club. So I think Celtic will go through. I think they've got more than enough to beat Khairat Almaty, but they are taking a bit of a punt. That they'll go through, and I think they would need to take maybe a 2 or 3 goal lead over there, because it's a long trip, and Celtic have not traditionally done well over there. So I think that they need to go and win 2 or 3-0 at home, and then they can kind of cruise through.
Yeah. What's the longest trip you've ever made as a professional footballer, Ruffy?
Brazil.
Yeah, I thought
Rio de Janeiro.
Yeah.
It was horrendous.
In what respect?
It was horrendous coming back, you know, because we were first class going
Yeah.
up in the big bubble of the Qantas. Coming back, we were up the back.
Yeah.
Up the back.
So really a kind of a political statement there from you and your social class. Is that fair, Tom? You know, I want to be first class because I'm somebody from Knightswood that deserves it, and then going back the way, I'm not happy because I'm not getting.
I had a good one when my wife Maggie was doing the travel piece for the paper, and we got invited to Cuba, which is a fair old shout, right. And but that was business class going, and after our trip on the way back, we were coming onto the plane, and the stewardess said, "Mr. Ruff," and I said, "Yes," because Maggie wrote the piece with my name.
Yes.
Okay. So the stewardess said, Mr. Ruff, I see you're doing a piece on our aeroplane for your paper. And I went, yes, I am. I'd like to upgrade you to first class. I said, oh, thanks very much. I said, and what about my wife? She went, no, she's not getting it. Maggie had to sit up the stairs in the business class.
Yeah.
And then the stewardess come back and she said, Mr. Ruff, you're allowed guests for an hour, if you'd like, because you have a whole bar, you have a whole bar run about you. So I said, could you ask the lady in seat J3 to come down if she'd like?
Was that Maggie?
Maggie says she
No way you get Maggie didn't. Hi, Jenny.
So after an hour, and she drank all my brandy. The stewardess says, I'm sorry, madam, but you have to go back to your seat.
Yeah, because there's no drink left. Brilliant, Ruffy. Anyway, I think comfortable enough. Is it a roll of the dice? Yep. If they get it in the neck, if they
I was
don't
going
make
to say
it,
the point you're making there. Who gets it in the neck more than the other?
the board. Absolutely. Listen,
Well, what about all the people who Brendan says don't like him? I'm sure they'll direct a lot of that.
No, that. Well, I said last week, Ruffy, just discard that. Brendan doesn't need to care who likes and doesn't like him. You know, really, when you're a grown man and some people don't like you, then you don't think about it. You're paid well. You've got to go and do a job. Yes, you want 2 or 3 quality players. I think he will get them. But unfortunately for the Celtic fans, they just have to suck it up nowadays and say, listen, you can moan all you want, you're getting them late, and here are the reasons why. And if they get into the group stages, then you have to applaud the board and say, well, you rolled the dice, now you've got 100 million in the bank, you get another 60 million coming. So Brendan, here's your 3 quality players, on you go.
Yeah, I agree with Peter. I think they will bring 3 in. I think they'll bring 2 wingers and a striker in. Whether that's Vardy and another 2 wingers, I don't know. But they're linked to a lot of clubs. And Celtic have always been a club that wants value for money. You know, Peter Lawwell, Michael Nicholson, the board, they want value for money, and they're prepared to play clubs poker, you know, in terms of the fees, and towards the end of the window, they'll maybe up it a little bit, but I think there's a lot of that going on just now. You know, they're waiting to see who's available, what sort of fees they're looking for, but I think that Celtic will eventually bring players in, but I don't see it before, obviously, this tie.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if they brought even 1 player in before this tie. The other thing which was nice to see was the boy Dane Murray has had a tough time getting himself a goal and a chance to maybe resurrect his career and maybe put himself at the forefront of the manager's thoughts.
Yeah, I think he's very highly rated by Brendan Rodgers. I think he's given him opportunities. He played them down at was Aston Villa in the Champions League last season. I don't think they did a great game. I think he maybe come on and conceded a sloppy goal, but I think Brendan Rodgers really rates him. You know, he speaks highly of him. I think he's trying to he bleed him into games like that. It was a perfect opportunity. You know, playing Falkirk at home. You know, they're going to have a lot of the ball. So, listen, there's a lot of centre halves. You know, there is a lot of centre halves at Celtic at the minute.
You still need a left back as cover.
Yeah, I think they need a left back as cover for Kieran Tierney, who was outstanding the other night. You can see him getting fitter and stronger every game. Peter, I just think he needs minutes on the pitch, and you'll see the real Kieran Tierney back. But yeah, Celtic won the game comfortably. Falkirk came and opened up and tried to make it a game, which is great. You know, made it an entertaining spectacle. But Celtic looked sharp on the night, particularly first half, and they run out comfy winners.
Here's a good question for you, which has just come into my head there, and some people might think it's a rotten question, but I'll try my luck. If you were only allowed to sign 1 left back from all the other Scottish teams for Celtic because they're looking for cover, who would you sign out of all the other clubs? Is there somebody in your mind, Ruffy, that you would think would be...
For Celtic?
Yeah.
Probably Nicky Cadden.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking for a forward, you know, curling. Injury's a problem, but he's certainly the best crosser of the ball.
Yep.
Anybody that you can think of?
No, Cadden, obviously. I like the boy that St Mirren brought back in, Bacchus. I like him.
Yeah, he's not a left back, he's a midfielder.
Yeah, no, but if he's got a left foot, surely you can put him there.
Yeah, but he's right-footed.
Well, Rangers try to do that with Bailey Rice, and that didn't work out too well.
Absolutely. So Ruffy can't think of anybody for that left back.
You never mentioned Harry Milne, who he raves about.
Yes.
Yeah, what about Harry?
Yeah, he should have went there before he went to Hearts.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of promise in him at Thistle. I couldn't believe that the money that they let him go for. I thought it was a snip.
So Harry Milne.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
As a backup, off.
Yeah. I think what we've got to do nowadays, as life goes on, Tam, is we've got to put the thought in his head and then he'll agree with us. Is that fair?
Yep. He just doesn't come up with anything himself now.
Yeah, exactly.
His brain's turning to mush.
Actually, didn't give me much time.
Yeah. Well, I'll be fair to you.
time.
I'll be fair to you, Ruffy. I did actually just...
Well, come up with something else then.
Yeah.
Don't come up with an obvious one.
Obita at Hibs.
Yeah, exactly. I thought you might say that. Anyway, it's worth a shout. Can you think of somebody in Scotland who'd be worth a punt? Give us your thoughts on that. Celtic 4, Falkirk 1, and it's Kairat Almaty up on the Wednesday. Give us your thoughts. What do you think? Will Celtic get a player in? Will Celtic have enough to get through that? And who gets it in the neck if they don't? Give us your thoughts. We think they'll get through. Now we move on. Rangers 4-2. It was a wee bit of a harum-scarum moment when there was an equaliser, Ruffy, but in the end, and I don't know if you're noticing in the background, Russell Martin, with the help of the board, they're effectively shunting out some of the people who are just not up to it. Jeffy will be the latest one to say goodbye to them. Yilmaz, another shortly. They've managed to get in, I think, on a loan from Brentford. Rangers have managed to bring in a player, and I will just give you his name now, which is completely not Jaden. Something or other that's just come into my head, Tam, which is doing my nut in. Yeah, there it's there. I'd written it down. Jaden Magoma on loan from Brentford on a left back role. So clearly, you know, they're starting to. You only have to look and see the type of player that they're getting rid of, that every one of us has been analysing and criticising, and fairly so over a period of time. And Russell Martin slowly but surely is getting rid of the people that have caused the club so much pain over the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I think you can see him. He's trying to bring his own team in, his own players, and I think that ultimately he's going to be judged on when it is his own team. A lot of rumours about Nico Raskin, who was excellent for Rangers last season. You know, he's been out the team. You know, I wonder if Rangers will be looking for a big fee for him. So yeah, I think he's got to be allowed time to bring his own players in. He's doing that, but they've got to put in better performances than they've done at the weekend, Peter. I thought they were poor against Alloa, and 10 minutes to go, 3-2, they get the goal to make it 4-2 to clinch it, but a real, again, slow performance, Peter, you know, in that final third, you know, trying to walk the ball in at times, not any real tempo in the team.
I think that's the two elements of the team that are the real problem for them. The one is the glaringly obvious one, is the back line. The back line is not up to it. I mean, that back four, and I include all of them in that back four until they start to shut up shop. But that whole back four is not right. So there's your first element that needs to be sorted out. And the second one, Tom's just touched on, I think they're too slow, Ruffy. They want the ball to take a touch to control it. There's very rarely you see them, quick, one pass, move it, put
one paste.
Yeah, it really is at times.
But Russell Martin came in and said it's going to be his style of play. That's the way he's going to do it. Now, I don't know if that's his style of play. Well, he's certainly not buying the players then to suit his style if they're not implementing what he's teaching them to do. I think the biggest problem for Rangers is, okay, Rangers were the same as Celtic the weekend. They had only 4 first-team players in the team. But the people who come in didn't affect the game at all. I mean, I'm sure at the end of the game, he would be sitting there going, well, did any of them impress me? Like, come on. And I think the answer would be no. So the problem he's got is he might have eventually got a right good 11 on the park, but what is coming on don't have the same effect as what the Celtic players that come on do.
Well, I would slightly disagree with you on the basis that this is a work in progress at Rangers. Brendan's is a tweak to try and increase the quality. There's a difference here in the game of the manager, Russell Martin, in the game that Brendan Rodgers has. Brendan Rodgers is building a side and said, I want 3 quality players because Celtic are going to be playing Champions League football at group stages, so he knows that jump in level, so he wants that level of player. Russell Martin wants a team that can beat all the other clubs other than Celtic to prove that they're in a title race, which they haven't been able to do at the moment, Tam. And secondary to that, you look, Bayrami scored a great goal at the weekend, an absolute peach. You've got the boy Mikey Moore, who's desperately hoping for 17 years of age. He's got a point to prove up here, can really start to put himself at the forefront of Spurs' mind when he's on loan here. And Finlay Curtis, Emmanuel Fernandez gets his first goal. So I think Russell Martin, while there is this kind of a background noise of unrest, there is positivities that the manager looking, okay, you're for the future, this is good, we've got past them, we now know what's coming in the next round, you know what I mean? It's Hibs in the next round. So he's slowly but surely on the run and trying to block out the noise. He's slowly but surely seeing some positives.
Yeah, he is, but I'm not sure the Rangers supporters are, Peter. That's the problem. You know, Russell Martin...
Well, it's 4-2, they're through. What's the problem?
They are through, but it wasn't a good performance, Peter, again. They've lost 2 goals at home to Alloa. No disrespect to them. You know, they're losing goals, they're losing chances, they look ropey at the back. I think they're very, very slow in their build-up to go and open up teams as well. So, no, I haven't been really impressed with them. And listen, acid test's coming tomorrow night. You know, this will be the best club they've played against so far, Club Bruge. They've got a 2-legged game against them. They've got a game away to St Mirren. You know, they've got a cup tie at home to Hibs. They've got Celtic at home on the horizon. They've got Hearts at home. They've got a real tough run of games, and that's all before the window closes. So I think the Rangers are obviously won. The most important thing is getting through, but I think the Rangers supporters will be looking at the team and going, well, we need to be better than we're shown.
Well, I think you're right. This is a huge test, and Alison McConnell was out there today to get the thoughts of Russell Martin at Ibrox ahead of the game against Club Bruge.
Russell Martin was in relaxed mood as he faced the media here this afternoon prior to tomorrow night's massive Champions League playoff tie against Club Bruge at Ibrox. He's told his players they need to embrace the pressure, find the joy of playing for Rangers and enjoy the challenge that comes with pleasing a very demanding crowd. They've felt those demands across recent games. Drop points to Motherwell, drop points to Dundee, and a fairly chaotic defensive performance against Alloa in the Premier Sports Cup at the weekend, so it's not been entirely convincing. However, Martin has insisted that he needs time to get it right here at Ibrox. Whether or not he gets that time remains to be seen, but certainly a big part of buying that would come with qualification to the Champions League and the riches that would bring. Cyril Dessers is touch and go for that one. Whether or not he makes an appearance tomorrow night at some point remains to be seen. However, what he did say was that Nico Raskin will most certainly be in the squad for this clash against Bruges.
Yeah, no, he's been really good. So we analysed his clips, me and him together from Tuesday. So yeah, no, I've not heard anything. Not at all. So he's been brilliant, and I'm pretty sure Kevin and Patrick in the game would have told me if we'd had heard that. So no. Yeah, I think he's got better and better. I think he'll get better and better. He was only not in the squad on Saturday for a rest. He picked up a kick on Tuesday, but he's trained really well. And I think he's going to be a big player for us. I said that from the beginning, but I also said obviously it's been a difficult summer for him and all that. But the last few weeks I've loved the energy that Nico's brought, and he's going to be really important for us.
Jayden McHoma will also be in the squad for tomorrow night's game after the left back arrived from Brentford. He's going straight in as a wild card after being added to the squad list, and Martin has said that although Rangers faced Club Bruge earlier in the season as part of the pre-season preparations, that he doesn't anticipate that there will be too many similarities between those games tomorrow night. He spoke of the fact that both squads already look very different to what they did back in July, and also stressed that the atmosphere and the tension, particularly with what's at stake, will also be very different. So interesting to see how this one goes tomorrow evening here at Ibrox. That's a massive test for Russell Martin. Interesting to see how he comes through this one.
Yeah, Alison out there at Ibrox, 6 wins out of 7 for Bruges, sitting nicely in third place in the Belgian league. And certainly on the evidence of what they produced last year, I thought they were a tidy side, played really quick. And at times at Celtic Park, I think the Celtic fans acknowledged how good a side they were.
Yeah, I think they're a really impressive team, Peter. I thought they were probably the best team I'd seen at Partick last season in a 1-each draw. I think Celtic scored late to get a point out of the game, but I thought Bruges were superb. They had a couple of great results. I think they beat Atlanta last season as well. So I think they're a huge step up from the calibre of teams that Rangers have been playing. Panathinaikos, Victoria Pilsen. I think Club Bruge are an established Champions League team. You've seen them in the group stages often. I think they got pipped obviously to the league last season with USG, but I think they'll come and be favourites. I'm surprised that they're not favourites in this game. I think Rangers are slight favourites with the bookies, but I think over the 2 legs they'll have too much for Rangers.
Yeah, Ruffy, you want to look for the positives, and the positives are quite simply that Rangers have to, I think, take, one possible. I think they need 2 goals of a lead to go over to Belgium. I mean, this is Bruges who knocked out Salzburg in the last round as well. So I think he needs a really big night at Ibrox, the crowd roaring them on, got to keep it tight, and they'll know that they're going to have to play the ball quickly, because I think they'll be closed down very quickly if they don't get their act together.
I think the most important thing is scoring the first goal. I think if they score the first goal, it'll get everybody off their seats, it'll keep the momentum going in the stadium. They lose the first goal, we saw what kind of reaction some of the Rangers players have when they go behind, when the fans aren't 100% behind them. It's a hard watch. So I think getting the first goal would help them on their way. Like you, I don't think one goal will be enough. I think they've got goals in them at home. So I'd like to see them winning, there's no doubt about that, but I just can't. I can see a draw, but I can't see a win.
Yeah, Paul says Celtic done well to get the draw with Bruges. They were a good side, and there's no doubt about it. Can Russell Martin somehow not only work out the way they're going to play, but get his side to step up to the plate? There are still worries there from what they produced against Alawa as well, and when you look at the start of the season, it hasn't been enthralling for the Rangers supporters. They're certainly looking at it and waiting for some of the bits of the jigsaw to click. And he's still got a few players that he'll want to bring in as well. But this is a massive one. And I think financially the implications are massive, Tam, because when you're going through a building process of trying to get certain players in, it's a different conversation that Russell Martin has with the Rangers board if suddenly they say, by the way, we've knocked Bruges out, we're in the group stages of the Champions League. Suddenly they can say, here's an extra, 10 million, or here's an extra something.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Peter. I think they'll possibly have two lists, one if they get in the Champions League and the quality of players that they could maybe go for, and then one for the Europa League if Bruges knock them out. So I think if you're right in the early stages of Rangers rebuild, under the new owners, I think if they can get in the Champions League, get that money, that happens faster. You get closer to Celtic faster. If you don't, then you're in a different market for players. You're not banking that money. So, listen, as I said, you never bet against Rangers in European football. But what I've seen so far of Rangers in Europe and domestically, I'd be pretty surprised if they put out a club of Bruges calibre over two legs.
Ruffy, give us your prediction on both of them then, because it's Rangers against Bruges first of all, and then I'll get your Celtic Kairat Almaty.
Yeah, I think it's important Rangers win this game tomorrow night. They've got to take something to Bruges. They've got to put them on the back foot a wee bit. Hopefully they can, keep them at bay for maybe 40 minutes, something like that, so their fans don't get on top of them. But you've got to expect the way Rangers are defensively just now, they're going to lose a goal. So I think it's important, if they are going to go through, it has to be 2-goal lead.
2-goal lead. And what's your prediction?
One each.
Yep, I think one each, Tam.
I'll go for 2-1 to Bruges tomorrow.
Okay, give us your thoughts on it. Give us your prediction as well. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much to everyone who supported us last season and back with us this season. 7 days a week, you get all sorts of content on PLZ Soccer right across the board. We don't have the multi-millions of some of our bigger competitors that we are up against, your Sky, your BBC, your Premier Sports, but we're giving you so much content. And if you want more and exclusive content with the chance to win some fabulous prizes, Scott McTominay shirt is up for grabs, a replica Napoli top. We'll be giving away our boxes for some of our premium subscribers. All you do is go onto our homepage, hit the subscribe button on premium. Back is up for the season, and you get the chance to win some great prizes, I can promise you that. And you'll get exclusive access to some of the great guests we've got coming up. So that's all to look forward to. We've discussed Celtic and Rangers. Kairat Almaty, Ruffy, what are you going for?
Well, they got beat at the weekend, 3-2. That's encouraging for Celtic. We'll have to wait and see the quality that come. I would like to think that Celtic could take maybe a 3-goal advantage over there.
3-0?
Yeah, I think so. They've proved at home. Going forward, they're very difficult to stem, and I would like to think they could do that.
Okay.
I Celtic comfortable as well. I think they're
3-0?
different level from Kairat. Yeah, I'll go for 3-0 as well with Celtic.
Okay, I'll go 2. Give us your thoughts on that as well. Elsewhere in the Premier Sports Cup, before we look at the draw, just a quick reflection on some of those games. Aberdeen, Nielsen Yengi, and I tell you what, Clarkson's flick for his goal was just gallus. It was brilliant, and in the end they won comfortably against Morton.
Yeah, I think they need that, Peter. I think that they've had a tough start to the season, obviously finishing last season on such a high, when the Scottish Cup expectations were really high this season with Jimmy Tilleen spent a lot of money. You know, they've signed. You know, they've spent a lot of money. A couple of million quid they've spent, and that's big money for a club the size of Aberdeen. So David Cormack. I know Dave Cormack has put the money in, and you need to see results for that. So it was a comfortable win. Yengi gets the goal as well, Peter. And I think he was written off.
Lethal for a yard.
Yeah, I think he's been written off pretty quickly with a lot of people after 2 games. His confidence.
Did you not write him off last week?
Yeah, I thought he'd been poor the first 2. I don't think he's rotten, but I think he has been crap in the first 2 games. But like any striker, that goal will give him confidence, and you'd like to see him going and scoring a few more for Aberdeen. But comfortable victory in a place which can be tricky. But I said it at the weekend, it can be tricky in December and January, Capello. You know, pissing the rain and a wet park, but summer, nice surface. Aberdeen went down there and enjoyed it and won comfortably.
Ruffy?
Yeah, I think so. I'm surprised the wee boy Clarkson hasn't played more. I think he's a wonderful wee player. I think he's got great technique. And again, you know, I think it was last year he scored an absolute screamer, top corner for a free kick. So he's got it in him. He uses the confidence. I think he'll get more game time now after that performance that he had. But Aberdeen needed to win that. They needed to win it because of some of the results that they had.
Yeah, okay. And I'll tell you, we need every team in European football. I'm really rooting for Aberdeen and Hibs as well. But they've got FCSB. I love the way they abbreviate their names. They just call them Steaua Bucharest and give us peace, will you? Europa League. Desperately hope the Dons can do it.
Well, fortunately, it's not the Steaua Bucharest for a long time ago when they won the
Did you
European
see?
Cup.
I love the fact that you're just looking at it as a start, Ruffy. Did you see that Steaua Bucharest team?
Not the team. The one nothing, didn't they?
Barcelona beat in the final.
They won in a penalty shootout. They would bore the arse off you. They were the worst team to win the Euro.
Did they beat
Barcelona with I think Steve Archibald was in the side. 1987, if my memory serves me correct.
He was a big striker, a main striker, big name.
For Steaua Bucharest? I can't remember, Ruffy.
Lakitus?
No, you're just pulling out any Romanian that you remember. No. Trying a Gordon Smith on you. By the way, they did have a star player in the side.
Yeah, they did.
I'm trying to think who it was. Would it have been Prozadecki?
No.
I'm not sure, but I'll tell you one thing.
Savicevic?
It was he played for AC Milan. He was a good player. But in the end, Ruffy, I thought, you know, listen, they're against Aberdeen, and you're right, it's not the same quality that gets to the European Cup.
No, but this is a year when, obviously, Tam's already touched on it, they've brought in a lot of quality, they've spent a lot of money. The disappointment every year in Europe, year on year, has been basically them getting beat with lesser teams. You would think this year they'd learnt the lesson, you know, of European style of football, and hope that they can get a result to get through, because as you say, we need every one of them.
Do you fancy them?
It's a hard one, you know. I think it's going to be really, really tight. Really tight.
Yeah.
I do fancy them, Peter. I think they could have got a harder draw than that. And I think Hearts will be kicking themselves a couple of seasons ago. They had a real opportunity to get in the Europa League, and it's not really a no-lose game, but you're guaranteed the Conference League group stages, so you can go and have a real go. And Steaua Bucharest will be a decent team technically, but I think if Aberdeen play at their potential, they can get through that tie. Yeah,
I'm just looking here to try and get the names. So the Steaua Bucharest side from 86 was the final against Barcelona. I was a year out, sorry for that. And I'm giving you my full apologies. Lakitus is in there. Right, Tom, I'm giving you my full.
There you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Was he the man? Yeah. Do you know what, Tom? I'm going to bow to your knowledge there of that and offer you my full apologies. Lakitus is the star man in that side. Jordanescu, come on, he was another well-known Romanian player. But honestly, that means Steve Archibald was playing for the side that had Bernd Schuster in it as well, and you know they had a really good team, but unfortunately couldn't get past them. Ended up going to a penalty shootout. Steaua Bucharest won it. Aberdeen. Are you fancying them to win it?
Yeah, I'm going to stick with them.
I'm going to stick with them to get a narrow lead, 1-0.
Aye.
Yeah.
I think I'll go for 2-1.
2-1. Yeah. If you're a Dons fan, what do you make of it? Yeah. Thanks, Roderick, who says 1986 Steaua won it. Yeah, 1986. Absolutely unbelievable. And the other thing I was going to say is that, you know, somebody says, Peter, are you going to give a mention to our southern friends, Newcastle and Sunderland? I'm not quite sure what that's all about, by the way. We do mention every team in this football show, believe me. Aberdeen, we want to get them through, hopefully against Bucharest. Give us your thoughts on that. Are we going to have 4 teams in European competition? I'll tell you one thing, I know I keep battering on about the money, Ruffy. Wouldn't it be great if they got that, 5, 6, 7, 8 million extra?
Yeah, well, what happened? I mean, football teams at the beginning of the season going to have a meeting and they talk about budgets, and the manager's always saying, what you giving me? And they obviously say to him, well, if you do particularly well, we'll give you a wee bit extra.
Yeah.
So he knows at the end of the day, if he's got the loyalty between the people who own the club, if he does well, he can go and chap the door and say, here, I've produced the goods for you. What are you giving me? Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about Hibs in Europe in a moment. Partick Thistle 2, United 0. Ruffy, you happy with that?
A great result. The only downside for me was it was drawn to play at home, which revenue I would like to think that at this moment in time, I don't think Partick Thistle would expect to beat Celtic, but if you can go into that game and maybe come out with maybe 100,000, if it had been at Parkhead, it would have been 100,000. I don't know how they're going to carve it up with the crowd, because the Celtic supporters will want to go there, but so will the Thistle supporters as well. So yeah. I hope it's a full house, and I'm sure Thistle will give a good account of themselves.
And it's a wee bit wide of Tony Watt trying to claim the goal when Chalmers hits it. I think it came off his back ankle.
As a striker, Pete, you try and claim everything. I've done that myself.
Said it was a back heel. Off you. Said it was a back heel volley.
Yeah. He's trying to claim it, but
sure, Tony.
Just judging on the highlights, Thistle looked well on top in that game. I think United have got a few injuries and are struggling a wee bit at the minute, but as Ruffy said, a great tie for them financially. Partick Thistle, well documented, struggling a wee bit financially this season. And it'll be interesting to see if they look after their own fans or they bow to the green and white pound.
Yeah.
And give Celtic the majority of the stadium.
Well, I'll tell you what they do. They give Celtic the majority of the stadium. You'd need to be off your nut not to. Come on, Ruffy.
Big season tickets, you're talking about 2,500.
You're kidding me? This is a club that needs money away and bile your head. You give Celtic fans 3 sides. You take all the money. Are you daft?
I think there might be a bit of health and safety with the old stand, and I think the police will be the ones that decide, because they don't like segregation now. There's not enough room in that stand to segregate two sets of supporters.
What would you do if you were on the board again, like a yo-yo? Remember those days?
I'd give all the season ticket. First choice. I wouldn't want to move them out of their seat.
Yeah?
They're the ones that have been loyal.
Yeah. Okay. There you are. What would you do, Tom?
I'd take the money.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think there's any hope in hell that Partick Thistle beat Celtic, so
yeah, take
as much money as you can and use it to try and come up this season.
Fadinger scored for Motherwell. They knocked out St Johnstone. It took extra time though, Tom.
Yeah, extra time. Motherwell might have been out if it went straight to penalties. So, well done, extra time for Motherwell.
Yeah, absolutely. Still, I don't give a.
Well, Motherwell deserved to win, but Motherwell
could have went it. I mean, the boy Holt should have buried it. The ball that came across it. I mean, St Johnstone had chances more than they thought they would have got, but the game just swung back and forward.
And by the way, can I just say, I know people are going to give me it tight, because I'm saying bin extra time, but I was up at Tannadice on Thursday night and it goes to extra time, and I'm thinking, oh, come on,
Is it up in Dundee and you want to get down the road?
Well, the point I was saying was, you've played 90 minutes in the away ground, for Dundee United, and they're now subjected to playing 90 minutes in Dundee United's ground. So that's fair's fair. You go straight to penalties. If the two you can't beat each other in the 90 minutes within the regulated time at each ground, don't give anybody the advantage of going to all the United fans going, not that it mattered, because it didn't really matter anyway, but I would go straight to penalties and say, right, you've played your 90 minutes, home and away, straight to penalties, bish, bash,
Would you not just after the 90 minutes, if it was still a tie in the second leg, Peter, would you not just say, right, that's the game finished and you play the next 30 minutes in Switzerland as a neutral venue?
Right, now you're just ripping the arse out of it.
What about I don't know if you know, me and Tam played in America.
Yeah, I'd heard that.
What did you think of the shootouts over there for the halfway line?
I didn't take part in them, but I've seen them, and I would have hated them.
That's good.
I think that's it. You've got to dribble it.
The penalty kick's too easy.
That'd be brilliant for
the excitement of somebody coming for the halfway line and having to get to the 18-yard line before he shoots.
But can I tell you something though, Ruffy? Can I ask you this? And again, we just slightly digress, but I think it's a good point you make. If it was me with that situation, I would run as fast as I could, because I know the goalkeeper then, his objective is to come out and narrow the angles for you. But then at that point, Ruffy, I would flick the ball up and just launch it over his head. Did that happen? Have you
I suppose it did, but you've got to have the confidence, your ability to do it. And remember the organs playing in the background.
Ah, yeah, the organs.
Well, you're
It just keeps going faster.
Yeah, I didn't know that bit, Ruffy. Yeah, but listen, I don't fancy the halfway line. Could you do it? Are you confident enough if you were there and you're playing for your team, male or female? Doesn't matter what gender of football it is. Could you run from the halfway line with the old piano and the organ going and the clock, the fans cheering in the background? Could you hold your nerve and beat the goalie in that? Would you prefer that? Do you think that's more exciting? A wee bit of American razzmatazz, as Ruffy has mentioned. I'm not too sure. Anyway, straight from extra time at Tannadice, I go to St Mirren's ground and we're on to extra time again. And I just, it was probably just 2 games where I looked at it and I thought, just go to penalties. What's the point? They both cancelled each other out over the 15 minutes of each half again. And then it went to penalties. And by the way, St Mirren were really, really, really good penalties they took.
I think the first one, Peter, I think Zander Clark should save.
Yeah.
Aye, I think that was a poor penalty. He should have saved that. And then the other 4 were tremendous.
4 were top corner.
Yeah, the next 4 after that. And unfortunately for Hearts, that's the treble at the window. So
Yeah, I noticed.
I need to concentrate on the double now.
I noticed that you noised everybody up after my tweet, which caused a fair bit of consternation.
What about the clicks?
Because I knew you were, well, not only that, I knew right away you thought you'd thrown your usual incendiary device in and then ran away. Yeah, treble's gone, but tongue-in-cheek from Tam, I thought first half St Mirren were great, Ruffy, and I think you cannot compliment him.
They're hard to beat at that stadium, isn't
They really are, and this is, it was. Listen, this is what Stephen Robinson and Derek McInnes had to say.
Felt 1 or 2. I don't think anybody in our team set out with intention to just settle for penalties, because it didn't look like that. But I just felt maybe 1 or 2 could just give a bit more, just drive yourself on, make the difference. Got St Mirren hemmed in at times. Our shape was good against their shape, I felt, in that extra time period. And you're just looking for somebody to step up, and we never quite managed to do that. And then it plays out into penalties, which can happen. But disappointed to exit the cup. Congratulate St Mirren, they've won a tight tie on the penalties.
Yeah, look, we've done it 3 seasons in a row where we've defied the odds. Football isn't played on a finance sheet. It certainly helps. It certainly helps you sign more ready-made players, but what it can't give you is a heart and a desire that we have, and we have it in abundance. But you also seen our quality first half. Some really, really good football. We just lacked a little bit of composure. We looked tired in the second half, which made the game harder than we thought. And it's not for me to concentrate on Hearts. I'm just looking at my team, ever so proud of each individual, and hopefully we get a little bit of a luck in the draw.
Well, I think you should be proud of them, because in that first half, Ruffy, they defended well. I like the boy Killian Phillips. I mean, he's a player. And Bacchus was great. He looked as if he'd never been away. It was just fitted in, really good play. Second half, Hearts made 3 big changes and started to really get a grip on the game, but just lacked that wee bit of. I think there's still something missing from them. I think they need another option other than Shanklin.
No, I think you've given all the credit to St Mirren. I think St Mirren are now turning into a team that other teams don't want to go and play at their ground. You get a team you don't fancy going there. They always make it hard for you. I think St Mirren are now that team that nobody likes going there, because they know they're going to be in for a battle. They know if they're going to get it in at the game, they're going to fight right until the end, and that's what they do. I thought the free kick was well worked. They'd obviously worked on it. Everybody's waiting in the curler coming in, and he plays it wide, which shifted a lot of people and left a big room for Gogic. It was fantastic.
You know what's great about Gogic, Tam? See at times in the back line, he's a calming influence, and he does, the big lad, play some really nice football, plays it out from the back. But then Stephen Robinson thinks, we've lost a wee bit of a grip in the midfield. So he sticks him in there, and then he just changes it and puts another man into the back line, and Gogic adds a wee bit of steel in there. I just thought he was, he's I don't know, I'm not saying he's much maligned, because I think a lot of people realise the quality of him.
I really liked him at Hibs. He was brilliant under Jack Ross. The season Hibs finished 3rd. Hibs went a different direction, and he ended up going to St Mirren. My brother-in-law and his brother are season ticket holders at St Mirren, and they think he's one of the best players they've ever seen. I mean, they're both in their 50s. and they think
I thought you were
Gogic.
going to say that they're both 5.
No, they're both. Honestly, they're both older. And honestly, when I say to them that they're top 3 ever St Mirren players, he's in it.
No, you're two.
I'm telling you, they love Gogic.
Your
They think he's
brother-in-law
absolutely
is
tremendous.
absolutely rat-arsed at games.
No, they love Gogic. They think they absolutely love him. The St Mirren fans love him.
He's a good player, but he's not in the best
player,
10.
no.
He's not in the best 10 St Mirren players of all time, Ruffy.
Come on.
Come on.
Sit here and start rhyming off players.
Frank
I'm just telling you.
McDougall, Frank McGarvey.
Just telling you.
Jackie
It's all about
Copeland.
opinions.
Billy
They
Abercrombie.
love Gogic, and the St Mirren fans adore him. He's a cult hero.
Oh, no wonder he's a star. I mean, we
Yeah.
had Stephen Robertson in here, and I don't know if you remember. Stephen said one of his players chapped the door to say, "I think I'm not getting as much money as Gogic."
Yeah.
And Stephen said to him, "Well, can you play in 4 different positions?"
I know, it's a great line, isn't it?
You know?
It's just a brilliant line. He can play anywhere. I just think he's a great player, but he's, I mean, it's a good pub argument, isn't it? Somewhere. By the way, the difference is, if you have that pub argument in Paisley, there's a full scaler out in the street. having lived there.
You think of that St Mirren team that won the cup.
Okay, no, his head's
Gogic
full.
strolls into that.
Have a word with your brother-in-law, will you?
Strolls into that sweeper.
Ian Ferguson played for St Mirren, for God's sake. Scored the winner in the cup final.
Isn't he Gogic?
Anyway, no, absolutely
Jackie
not.
Copeland.
Absolutely not. Ian Ferguson, I think he's got 10 Premier League medals, Ruffy. He's a great player. Killie 2, Dundee United 1. This is what Stuart Kettlewell and Jim Goodwin made of it all.
First half, I thought we played some okay football, at not the kind of tempo that we want to. Second half, I thought we offered very, very little in an attacking front going forward. We ran out of steam, we ran out of ideas, and deserved to be out of the cup. As simple as that. I think that the secret to everything is to try and get the buy-in for the players as much as you can, and I need to go on record again today and say that their buy-in's been first class, but we have to keep working and moving forward and not standing still.
United just ran out of gas.
Horrible feeling, knocked out of 2 cups in a 1 week. You know, it must be very, very difficult. Sort of a lift the dressing room. Obviously, a lot of foreign players in there. You've got to hope that there's a lot of good footballers in there. You know, guys who can encourage the other ones, get their heads up and get on with it, because it's a long, long season. And you just hope that the fans keep buying into everything he's trying to do.
I think they're going to be top 6. I genuinely do. Dundee United. I still think he's got quality. I like him as a manager. I think he's come through a lot of pain. He's he's growing in stature. I like the way they play football. I think he needs a couple more players. But fair play to Kilmarnock, because it's going to become really difficult for all of us to try and pick, and I'm going to ask you to pick, who's going to be in the playoff and who's going to be relegated once we get to September 1st and we see the strength of the signings. But Kelly, I mean, the boy Brannan's pass for Dakar's goal was just top drawer, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a real
It
promising.
was a pass.
Really promising young player. Obviously scored a screamer at Easter Road as well. So I'm not so sure about Kelly this year. They've started pretty well. I think they've had 2 draws in the league, and then obviously a good result at the weekend. But I still think they'll be round about the bottom. Still think they'll be round about the bottom 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Kilmarnock, but I agree with Dundee United. I think they're just leggy. They're just tired. You know, they've got a lot of injuries and they've got a hard schedule. But I think once things settle down, I think they'll be in the top 6 again.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about this last team here, Tam. Livingston 0, Hibs 2, Clydesdale and Mulligan. Mulligan's a screamer, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think he's been a fantastic signing, Peter. You know, there was obviously heavily linked to Rangers last season. I don't think Russell Martin fancied him and pulled the plug on that deal, but Rangers has lost, Hibs has gained. I think he looks a tremendous player. He can play in numerous positions as well. You know, great engine up and down the park, and a fantastic goal at the weekend. And I'm delighted for Clydesdale, who scored the goal as well. I think he's obviously came with a massive price tag. A lot of Hibs supporters want to see more of him, but I think David Gray's managed him well. He's obviously just been settling in and not quite been ready to start games. I think it was a perfect opportunity yesterday. He came in, he looked sharp, scored a great header, and again it gives him David Gray a welcome headache for the weekend. You know, Salinger's come in goals and kept a clean sheet, and nothing much to do. Does he keep Smith in? Does he bring him back in? You know, the big money goalkeeper they signed in the summer. So, and Grant Hanlon done well at the back. So I think Hibs are looking really strong at the minute as well, Peter. They've got a strong squad.
I think it's going really well for them. Do you fancy them against Legia?
Yeah, I do. I think they've obviously need to win a home game. I think if you go over to Poland and Legia Warsaw, have an intimidating atmosphere. You wouldn't want to go over there chasing the game, but I think Hibs will take care of them at home.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing, Ruffy. More and more, just everybody, you know, they can't stop talking about Kieran Bowie as well. But the rest of the side, you know, and Nicky Cadden, once he gets back up to speed again, gets in, a regular amount of games. They've got options. You never know. They might surprise us with a couple of signings as well.
Yeah, they certainly have. Whoever's owning the club has backed the manager. Seen all the good stuff that he's done and gave him the money to bring in. Obviously, Hanley wouldn't be cheap, or it'd be wages. But no, I think they're looking a lot better at the back. I like the boy McGrath in the midfield. I think he gives you a wee bit of stability in there. And as Tam said, they've got 3 or 4 options up front now, plus the Cadden boys wide.
Yeah. Do you fancy them, Leisure?
Yeah, I'm going to stick with them as well.
Yeah. What score?
2-0.
2-0. Okay.
2-1 Hibs for me.
2-1 Hibs. Oh, I'm going to go. I know they're prone to lose a goal, aren't they? I'll go 2-0, and hopefully they can take that over and defend, and then maybe nick one over there. But that, just with that point alone, guys, before we get to obviously the English Premier League and a couple of things that I think are rather disturbing about football matches and social media these days, but if you were trying to pick the top 6 and the bottom 6 right now, it's really difficult because you're looking at teams and they're surprising you with results. I mean, I think Dundee United, Hibs and Hearts have improved greatly. So I can see them in the top. Then you've got Rangers and Celtic. So then you're looking at one other team to hit that top 6, and it's either going to be an Aberdeen or a St Mirren. And that's the big call, isn't it?
I think that what will hinder Aberdeen is they're going to be involved in Europe group stage football. They're going to be playing Thursday, Sunday, all the way to Christmas.
Yeah.
And they've started poorly in the league, and I think that's going to be, I think Aberdeen will really struggle with that. So I think if you're looking for a wee upset, it maybe be a St Mirren getting into the top 6 instead of an Aberdeen, but there's a long way to go.
Yeah.
A long way to go in this transfer.
I think it's between Dundee United and St Mirren.
For the 6th spot. With Aberdeen getting in there. Yeah, okay. You could be right, Ruffy. It's worth a shout. What do you think of Ruffy's thoughts, or what do you think overall when you're trying to pick a top 6, when you're looking at the signings that are made by the managers, and there's still a fair bit of time to go before we hit the 1st of September and we see the players that are going to be brought in. And of course, it's a big, big week. Celtic will want to take an advantage over to Kairat Almaty. And also Rangers, huge week. I was just looking at the fixtures for Rangers coming up. This is massive in August. August is huge because it's 2 games against Club Bruge, St Mirren at St Mirren Park, and then Celtic at home, and Hearts and Hibs at home. I mean, what a run this is for me. This next 4 weeks it could be season defining for Rangers.
Yeah,
early.
Yeah, I think that's why the Rangers managers try to bring in as many players as possible. He knows that with all these games coming up, there's going to be injuries, there might be some suspensions, so the more players that he's got available, the better.
But he's signed 10, Ruffy.
Yeah, I know, but I think he'll keep trying to get people on loan. But I really do think that these games that you've talked about are going to be important for the whole of Rangers this season.
Yeah.
They've got 3 games at home in a trot.
Yeah.
Wow.
Celtic, Hearts and Hibs.
Yeah.
Hibs in the cup.
But I'll tell you right now, Tam, it's massive, and he's going to have to get these players in and ship out what I call the losers.
Yep, and he's no Marsden Ferrer after the way they've started in the league, Peter. They've dropped 4 points already, so they've got a really tough schedule coming up. Even after that, they're away to Livingston, so they've got a real tough run of games, and all he's got to do is win games. Winning games as a manager of Rangers buys you time, and if he wins games and buys himself time, then that's all he's looking for at the minute. But if he doesn't win games, that time will start to run out for him.
Yeah, okay, give us your thoughts on that as well. So many big games coming fast and furious, and Scottish football, as ever, is the league that keeps on giving in the Premiership and beyond. We'll keep right across all the stories, right across social media for you. One that saddened me, it was Liverpool 4, Bournemouth 2. Antoine Semenyo was allegedly, at this point, abused. The police have made an arrest on a man who abused the Bournemouth player, which, Ruffy, I'm not surprised. People are aghast. People are looking at it and saying, football has to do more. Football is not, the football authorities can with the police arrest people. Society, the police, the government has to do more. There needs to be a campaign and an education programme for people to try and eliminate the thought process in their head where they think it's okay to abuse somebody for their race. That should come from the government, be stamped on by the police, and also have an education programme. Yeah. But unfortunately, what you have in certain quarters, especially with the groundswell of media platforms, social media platforms, is you have a groundswell of the most moronic people on earth have a platform to abuse people. And I don't know how you stamp it out. I think the police and the government have got a tough job on this. Yes, they make their way into football grounds. Yes, they then peddle their bile and abuse players. But what can the football clubs do? You can't suddenly check somebody for being a racist as he walks into a football ground and then utters all sorts of abuse towards a player. It's despicable. And we only have to look at Kyle Stout, a young girl who's growing up, going through her bodily transformation, loves playing football, plays for Kelly. They do a social media release and people abuse her just because of certain blemishes on her face. I just think it's despicable.
It is. I think last year I remember reading something about the government were going to try and do something with the trolls that come on, that they've got to put their own name instead of using some stupid name, and with that name you've got to have an address and log in. I think these people have to be identified. They shouldn't be hiding behind a name, you know, that you can never trace. But it's good that the police arrested that boy. I think that's immediate action, you know, that we like to see that. And I think last year, I think the same happened up here. The police arrested somebody, and well done to the company that the boy worked for. They sacked him immediately.
Yeah.
You know, these are the kind of things that people out there, if they're prepared to do that kind of stuff, they have to be prepared for the actions that's going to happen if they do it. But you've been happening on, it has to start at a young age at school. Advising kids, you know, this is how you should be brought up, this is how you should behave, particularly, you know, with your friends and everybody. So lots of things to be done, but the arrest and punishing is a great step.
And I think the young Kelly player scored a screamer and a 4-0 win for them in their game, so fair play to her for that. But why should they take down the social media posts to bow to these people who are morons, Tam?
Yeah, I think they just try to protect her, Peter, you know, with the comments, and, you know, some of the stuff was scandalous. It was getting written about a young girl, and, you know, I'm really, really glad to see that everyone rallied around her. You know, some big names on social media, you know, got behind her, and she scored a great free kick. I seen it today on Twitter, you know, and she scored a brilliant goal at the weekend. And listen, I think it's great that everybody's rallied around, and Kilmarnock women's team will get a lot more publicity on the back of it as well. She will as well. So a lot of people will be following her career, you know, and see how she does. But yeah, you're right. You put a picture up, you put a video up of someone, and you're getting slaughtered. It's bang out of order, and I hope they find who it was and ban them from social media. But, you know, fair play to everyone for getting behind her and doing the right thing.
Yeah, I thought Semenyo, he showed particular strength and went on and scored 2 goals. And he's one of those players who was so calm. He could have been one that would have, you know, taken it out on everybody in the stadium, when really it was only one individual.
Yeah, I mean, again, it is the individual. You know, a lot of people are strong enough inside, you know, to put that to the back burner and concentrate on what they're doing. But there must be much, much more people out there who can't handle that kind of scenario, and they're the ones that are getting punished.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't see anything great from the start of the Premier League at the weekend, guys. I mean, I love Scottish football, and I think we all do, but I didn't see anything unbelievably fantastic. Man City just strolled as usual.
Yeah, Liverpool obviously look good going forward. I think defensively they look a wee bit suspect at the minute, but yeah, I watched the Man United Arsenal game yesterday. Thought Man United played well.
Yeah.
Probably a wee bit unfortunate to lose the game. Chelsea game was rotten. But I've always said to you, I prefer to watch Scottish football.
Yeah, absolutely. If you get a chance, why not hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel. The football show is absolutely free Monday to Friday, as is the women's football show as well. There's lots of exclusive content. There's special guests on the way. There's straight talk. There's going to be the journos this week. You get a chance to get early access to the journos before we put it out on our YouTube channel. So if you'd like to win some prizes, Scott McTominay's shirt is just the start of it all. That replica Napoli shirt is there. We're going to hand it out to someone and announce the winner next week. We've got a box full of goodies for some of our premium members. If you subscribe to it, you get a chance to get posters, badges, Maestro tops, T-shirts with the legends on it. All sorts of things will be thrown in.
And there's nothing better than delivering them And seeing the smile on their faces.
Well, I think
You're going
that,
to deliver them, aye?
well,
yes, we usually do it. If
I
they give,
have to
if
say, yeah, absolutely, Rafi. I mean, that's one thing about you. Last year, can you remember where we were?
Edinburgh. Edinburgh down in Leith. Down Leith.
Hibs fan for
A
£1,000.
runner, wasn't she? She was a runner.
Yeah, she was a runner, and the smile on her face because Ruffy was her hero. So it was great to see an 84-year-old absolutely delighted to see somebody that had seen Ruffy play. Only kidding, she was quite young.
Unfortunately, she's still with the husband, so your luck was it.
Yeah, absolutely. Her dad and everybody was there. It was fantastic, and her face was lit up. Ruffy handing over £1,000 in Edinburgh.
Hope she never counted it till we left.
Oh, exactly. And I was going to say, he used the last time he handed over £1,000 was in the Bermuda Triangle in Edinburgh. But that's another story. Anyway, if you live in Edinburgh, you know the score. Thanks to everyone for listening to the programme on our podcast and downloading it. We really appreciate that. And thanks to you for hitting the subscribe button on the YouTube channel. There's lots more content. You'll hear more from Russell Martin. You will almost certainly hear from the Rangers players ahead of that big match against Bruges. And of course, we'll keep you up to date with what Celtic are saying ahead of Kairat, Almaty, Aberdeen and Hibs. Previews, post-match reaction, all the football you can want 24/7. It's on PLZ Soccer. From Ruffy, Tam and myself, Peter Martin. The football show is back tomorrow. See you then.